Coach, there's a trophy on the line. You got the oil can, the milk can went back to Boise State. Now you're fighting for another trophy with the Spartans here.
Well, I think anytime you play one of our sister California State universities, it's a big rivalry. We've got a long history playing against San Jose State. Really a storied rivalry for a long time. Between them and San Diego, I think we are recruiting the same kids, and this game is obviously a big game because of that. But even beyond that, this is a big game for us because we got to start playing like we're capable of playing. Obviously, last week we didn't get it done. One of the things I was concerned about on Saturday night was the effort, and especially late in that game. And we poured through that tape, and with a few exceptions, there was good effort. It wasn't very smart effort. We had guys not fitting basic plays that we had practiced and that they fit earlier in the game, and that was disappointing. But you look at Charles Washington, the way he ran, the guy down after about 70 yards, and he had about a 20-yard head start on him. And we've got guys that it's important to, but we've got guys that have had plenty of reps and are still making critical errors that break down a defense. And we've got to get that fixed or get someone else in there, and that's why there's going to be a lot of competition this week.
Have you had a bigger head-scratcher game in your tenure here? I mean, coming off a bye week?
Certainly not here. I thought we practiced well. We started the ball game exactly the way we wanted to play. We had a 3-and-out, got a great punt return out of Duran. Offense takes advantage, knocks it in, and I don't know if our players thought it was going to be easy at that point. We're as a staff trying to figure out, what happened between there and the next drive. Played well on first and second down, and get them into a third and long situation, and don't play tight coverage, and we don't get pressure, and then we miss tackles, and next thing you know, they go down the field and score on a kind of a funky play. The center snapped it and nobody moved, and we don't tackle the ball carrier, and a lot of things like that happen. You got to be able to bounce back from it, and we didn't. They did a good job of ball control and not letting our offense get into a rhythm. We went 3-and-out the next drive, and then they held on to it for another 5-6 minutes. And we've got to be stronger mentally, and as a coaching staff, we've got to develop that in our players, because right now, clearly, they don't have the confidence, at least not enough of our guys, to handle that adversity and be able to go on. And we're searching for answers, and we're going to find them.
Right. What was the rationale for switching quarterbacks there in the fourth quarter? And was the leash on Zach a little shorter than maybe some of us thought? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, we had anticipated Zach, with this type of a defense, which they're very fundamentally sound and play very, very hard. They weren't a team that was going to be really exotic. They weren't going to be a team that was going to blitz a lot. We anticipated him having some success and getting into a rhythm running our offense. When we got into, late in that third quarter, fourth quarter, I can't remember exactly, I think it was fourth quarter, when we brought Brian in, we were trying to work through, situations with Zach, and, we had some plays called against the exact defense we had practiced during the week, and multiple times, we weren't executing the offense and not going through the reads and not trusting his protections. And, we just saw a look in his eye that he wasn't seeing it, and we thought at that time, for us to have a chance to win the football game, we had to go with Brian, because we knew Brian had been in that situation, and with the exception of a couple of throws he made, I thought he did a decent job of leading the offense, coming in with and generating a spark and a confidence. The 7 cut that he threw to Josh, that he underthrew, probably shouldn't have thrown that ball. Josh got to do a better job with his and set a higher angle. But even with that, Brian knows, hey, throw the check down, take the 5 yards, and let's get going. The other ball, hits him in the hands, and it's not caught and it's tipped. So I think bringing Brian back in gave us a spark. We're going to open up a competition this week and see how Zach responds. I know in practice he'd gotten better. We knew there was going to be some bumps in the road. Being the first time against live competition, we had a good dialogue with him as the game was going on, but we didn't see it click, and that's why we decided to go with Brian.
Coach, was that the worst you felt leaving a football field in your time at Fresno State?
Since I've been here, yeah, certainly. I was very frustrated at the end of the game. I think like a lot of our players were. When you're not playing well and the momentum starts swinging and you turn the ball over and you're giving up big plays, it's a sickening feeling. And I was expecting after the game when we were up here Saturday night watching to see are we having guys not run the football, are we having guys not fighting? That wasn't the case, but we have guys that are not finishing the play, not getting a guy on the ground. When you got a one-on-one situation in college football, you got to make that play, and too many times we're having guys not do that, and we keep drilling the fundamentals of it, and the sun's setting on some guys, and we got to go look for someone else if those guys can't get it done.
Coming from a defensive background, is that what concerned you the most about Wyoming's game?
Certainly that was part of it, but it was everything. I mean, we weren't getting it done on offense or defense. I mean, the lone bright side of the whole game was I thought we played really well special teams wise. I thought Garrett kicked the ball off and punted really well. We pinned him inside the 10 a couple of times on punts. Duran had a great return, and I thought our kickoff return was excellent. And kickoff coverage, I don't know that they got beyond the 25-yard line. So, except for the one squib, I guess, we didn't hit that squib very well. But so you see phases do things where I know guys are dialed in, but too many times we've got one or two guys that can't explain to you why. They'll tell you, Coach, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Well, why didn't you do it in this situation? Coach, I don't know. And that's frustrating.
That game with the Spartans last year, there wasn't a whole lot of defense played either way. They look like a different defensive team this year. I know they got some guys back from injury, and obviously Greg Robinson, a new coordinator. What have you noticed from them on the defensive side of the ball that's different or a bigger challenge for you?
They're playing with a different energy and confidence. I think they've got two excellent corners. They got a linebacker in Tago's one of the better tacklers in the conference, and up front they've got some active guys. But I think the biggest thing probably is Coach Robinson, veteran coach, knows how to motivate a team and gives them schemes that can give people problems. They're very, very multiple. They're going to pressure you, give you different looks, and yet be very, very sound. So each week they're getting better and getting more confident, and we know it's going to be a challenge to go against that defense. They're the number one pass defense in our conference, I think, still in the country.
I'm wondering what are you going to use to motivate the team this week? Is it going to be proverbial pride? Is it going to be, I don't know, some of this conference stuff, which technically is still alive? Is it going to be San Jose State and what happened last year? And I think the Spartans won last time they were here, although I think it was 2011.
Okay, yeah, I
Last
I
time.
don't know
What
about
are you
that.
going to use for motivation this week?
We're going to challenge their pride. You work so hard in this game for 365 days, and only 12 of them are guaranteed that count. And that's what you're judged on. And based on the last one we played, nobody likes the feeling and the taste in our mouth over the way we played. But the good news is, and I remind our team of this all the time, life's 10% what happens to you, 90% of how you respond to it and your attitude. And I expect, we've met with our players this morning, I expect them to come out determined that that's not the team that we are. I think back to last year when we played San Jose State and played well on offense, but played horrible on defense. We come back the next week in the championship game and had a markedly different game from our defense. It's going to take that kind of an effort and that kind of faith in our players, each other, and our coaching staff to turn this thing around. I don't doubt our players' resolve and effort, but we've got to get confident, and we've got to instill that confidence in our players that they can trust the guys next to them to make the play, and that we're going to put the best guys out there. And so, I want them to play because they like football. I mean, it shouldn't be a grind or drudge, but when you lose, it certainly is. So, the only way we can get this feeling out of our system and this bad taste out of our mouth is go out and practice, challenge each other and start playing for each other. And I think that's what we need to do.
You think the fact that it could be, it's homecoming and you're playing at home again and there's gonna be alumni presence,
Oh,
that can help, right?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I'm going to challenge those guys. I say, look, guys, you know, there's going to be a couple hundred guys that were in your shoes that laid the foundation of this program. You know, you ought to be playing for the guys next to you, but play for those guys too. You know, they started this thing. They have pride in what they did and what this program is, and they have pride in you. Earn that pride, you know, justify that pride. And, you know, I think our guys understand that, and that'll resonate.